Thanks, Jack. That was very well done. Told him not to set the bar too high before the ceremony started. Clearly, he didn't listen. So good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. I know the weather isn't ideal. My name is Ryan Taggard, and I have the honor of delivering our valedictory address tonight. So I'd like to start by once again thanking the families of the graduates, both for their attendance today and their continuous support throughout the past 4 years. The tremendous strides that we've made have only been possible with your help. Thank you. And in addition, I'd like to offer my own congratulations to the BUHS class of 2017. I'm immensely proud of us all, and seeing you all here is a bit surreal. It may be hard to remember now, but there was a time before Shaq dominated defensive lines everywhere, before Gabby graced us with her angelic voice, before Eli could dunk, and before Jack Spanierman could grow that magnificent beard. Look how far we've come. Now, I'm not going to take too long because I know there's only a couple people who came to see me specifically. Hi, Mom and Dad. And I'm also going to do my best to try and avoid sounding like a cheesy Hallmark card, but forgive me if I veer too far into the realm of do what you love and love what you do, or congratulations, graduate, best wishes on your next adventure. And before I continue, I feel there's a little disclaimer I should share with you, and that is I am dramatically underqualified to give anybody life advice, but especially this group of talented graduates. I'm not up here because I have everything figured out or because I'm drawing on some vast reservoir of life experience. And to clarify, some people might think this is me being humble, but they're wrong. So take everything you hear today with a grain of salt. There are a few things I've got down solid, though, and that is the value of hard work, the necessity of taking risks, and the true meaning of senioritis. We're going to focus on risk-taking, as if you guys need me to explain senioritis. And I'm not talking about the kind of superficial, no upside, what in the world were they thinking kind of risk-taking that finds its way onto YouTube fail videos. I'm talking about stepping clear outside your comfort zone, trying something that scares you, and maybe, just maybe, finding that it isn't so scary after all. Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player of all time, once said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." So get out there and stop waiting. Realize that inaction, like any other path forward, is a choice. There's no such thing as avoiding a decision. If you don't choose to either seize or let go of an opportunity, life is going to choose for you. Now, that may not come across as that scary a thought, because most of the time the choice that life makes is going to be something along the lines of, we don't need to pursue that. But if you consider the opportunity cost of too many ehs, or too many maybe-laters, you'll begin to realize that, unless you grab at it, a lot of really cool stuff will just float on by. Now, in the midst of taking all these shots, it's important to keep another thing in mind. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take does not at all imply that you're going to make 100% of the shots you do. Just look at Gretzky. He shot 17% for his career. He failed 83% of the time, which hardly seems like an encouraging statistic. When I fail 83% of the time, Ms. Margitis calls me down to the front office and threatens to rescind me from college. Saying that Gretzky failed, and those air quotes are important here, failed 83% of the time is factual. It's technically correct, but it's wildly misleading. Gretzky was undoubtedly the greatest hockey player ever. It's just that even the greatest fail a tremendous amount of the time. So embrace it. You are going to fail. Maybe a little bit at first, or maybe really badly shortly thereafter. You might invest heavily in dehydrated water or helicopter ejection seats. Maybe you'll forget that NyQuil isn't supposed to be taken during the school day. like one salutatorian that I know, who shall remain nameless. Isn't that right, Jake? And if you mess up really bad, and I mean really badly, you guys probably don't have to worry about this, but you could find yourself telling cringeworthy jokes to an assembly of confused freshmen at BUHS, and probably questioning your career choice. I'm just kidding, Mr. Perrin. We all love you. Mostly. But even if, per se, you find yourself being roasted by a lanky kid in a purple wizard costume, know that you're doing all right, because everybody at some point screws up spectacularly, and that's just what it takes to succeed. In keeping with my theme of trying to convince you that even the greatest fail almost constantly, I have a Michael Jordan quote. Jordan says, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." All right. My junior year, I took speech and argumentation with Mr. Kramsky, sitting right there and probably judging me as we speak. And throughout the class, Cram had us categorize ourselves based on how we confront the things that scare us. So those of you who have taken speech with Kramsky probably remember the scale that I'm talking about. The first category on this scale, the avoiders, do everything in their power to maintain their bubble. Life for these people is, I would imagine, very uncomfortable. It seems paradoxical, but the harder you try and run from what scares you, the more bothersome it will become, and the less you'll learn to handle it. Next, we have the resistors. These people will, on occasion, face a fear, but only with some outside prompting. There's a tremendous number of people in this group, and I think it's the most natural of the four categories. Third are the acceptors. These people aren't hunting for any scary experiences, but if somebody tosses an intimidating responsibility in their lap, they'll give themselves up, sometimes with hints of helpless resignation, to the fact that they must deal with it. Upon hearing Kramsky's explanation of this category, I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. But the final category, the seekers, differs from the other three. Avoiders, resistors, and acceptors are all characterized by their aversion to risk. Seekers, as the name might imply, actively try and find such situations. They thrive on adversity and challenge. This is where you want to be. Avoiders try their hardest to run away, while the resistors and acceptors stoically face their fates. But the seekers, by facing full-on what scares them, by seizing the moment, by taking the shot and being unafraid to miss, find themselves pushing their limits. And after a time, they may look back and see that what used to scare them is now planted firmly within their newly expanded comfort zone. If I can impart one thing to you tonight, let it be this: be the seeker. Before I step aside, I'd like to take a moment to thank a few people who have had an absolutely tremendous impact on me, and I've had far too many exceptional teachers to name them all here, so this is by no means an exhaustive or comprehensive list. Thank you to Bryn and Mr. Lib, to Mr. Powers for teaching me to love writing and dramatically expanding my perspective. Ms. Margaitis, please accept my formal apology for stressing you out so much. You've been a great sport over the past 4 years. Thank you to the entire science department, but especially to Mr. Braden and Ms. Hood for indulging my copious questions and providing the trip of a lifetime. To Haiyan, Da Shishie, Nisha Fei Chang Hao De Laoshe. To Kramsky, thanks for teaching me how to give a speech, and I hope I haven't disappointed you too much so far. To Mr. Holliday, the real most interesting man in the world. And I'm serious, this guy's adventures in stores put the Dos Equis guy to shame. Thanks for making history come alive and constantly reminding us that it's learning, not grades, that matters. Thanks to Martel for sharing with me your guidance, encouragement, and boundless knowledge of American history. Thank you, Rhonda, for the amazing support you've provided over the past 4 years. Jake and Brad, I'll make this brief since I know I'll get teased after, but I love you guys. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for being the most amazing and loving parents I could ever hope to have. Thanks to Kate and Will, the greatest siblings on earth. You've always been always been there for me, always looked out for me, and you've never failed to keep me in line. And thank you to my exchange sister, Ingrid, who's been a wonderful addition to our family. I'm going to miss you. And finally, I'd like to thank Mr. O'Donnell, a man who, in my eyes, epitomizes everything that a teacher, a mentor, and a friend should be. Your passion, curiosity, and wisdom have been a constant inspiration to me over these past few years, and I'm going to miss our calculus quandaries and ping pong matches immensely. OD's retiring at the end of the school year, and I want to recognize his amazing contributions to the BUHS community. So on its classroom door, OD has a poem that I'd like to leave you with. He once told me that it applies well to teaching, and I think it also applies well to life. It's The Real Work by Wendell Berry. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. Put yourself out there, take shots, miss a bunch, and keep seeking. Thank you, and congratulations again to the BUHS class of 2017.